Hello everyone, welcome to Chapter 1, Sincerity in Mind and Correction of Heart. The major objective of this chapter is to understand the learning for adults or the great man. Second, to understand the 3 items or 3 guiding principles and 8 steps. Finally, we try to understand the primacy of being sincere. Because we borrowed these 2 terms, sincerity and correction of heart, from the Book of Great Learning. So before we go into it, let me introduce briefly about the 4 books and 5 classics. So the 4 books, as you already know. First, the Great Learning, the Analects, the Measures, and the Doctrine of Meaning. So the Great Learning and Doctrine of Meaning were originated from the Book of the Rites. It was not until the era of the New Confucians when it was grouped into, together with the Analects and the Measures, into the 4 books. So it was attributed to Zhu Xi. And so Zhu Xi was such an important figure. He spent the whole of his life into these 2 books, especially the Great Learning. And about the 5 classics, the Book of the Poetry, the Book of the Document or the History, the Book of the Rite, the Spring and Autumn Annals, and the Book of Change. So these are the oldest documents in China's history. Together, 4 books and 5 classics, they constitute the most important, the core ideas of Chinese culture. So now let's focus on this Great Learning. As I said, it's originated from the Book of the Rite. It's all about the individual and social and the political matters, which is very different from the Doctrine of the Meaning, which is in the discourse of the psychology and metaphysics. So actually, it was not until the New Confucian, especially Zhu Xi, because Zhu Xi added a supplement to this book, and then he attached so much importance on this book. And together, these 4 books become the basic requirements for the civil examination. As for the importance of the Great Learning, there is a sentence. Let's see. The Great Learning is a work left by Confucius, and it is the gate through which beginners learn to cultivate virtue. It is due to the preservation of this book that even today we can still see the steps to learning that the ancients took. So the Analects and Measures come after it. A student must begin his learning with his work. And if he does, he will never go astray. So from this sentence, we can see that the Great Learning is so important. It's a book that the beginners or the learners begin to cultivate their virtue or morality. So in this 大学 in Chinese, so literally it means the learning for adults. Or in another sense, it's a learning for the great man. So it is more about the moral cultivation and the social order. The great man, the term, first appeared in the Book of Poetry, refers to the Zhou officials who practice the divination. So like this sentence, it says, the chief diviner will divine them. And then it later appeared in the Book of Change. It says, in the second line, see the dragon appearing in the field. It will be adventurous to meet with the great man. So here, the term the great man does not refer to a particular official, and it refers to an outstanding person of moral character and wisdom. And then In Confucius' view, how he described the great man, he said,
"The great man is he who is in harmony in his attributes with heaven and earth, in his brightness with the sun and moon, in his orderly procedure with the 4 seasons, and in his relation to what is fortunate and what is calamitous, in harmony with ghosts and dangers."
And then also the great man appeared in the Mencius work. When asked about why the people are so different, some people are a great person and some people are smaller.
Here is a famous dialogue between Gongduzi and Mengzi. Gongduzi asked, "All are equally persons, and yet some are great persons and others are small persons. Why is this?" Mencius said, "Those who follow the part of themselves that is great become great persons, while those who follow the part that is small become small persons." Then Gongduzi said, "Since all are equally persons, why is it that some follow the part of themselves that is great, while others follow the part that is small?" Mencius said, "The faculties of hearing and sight do not think and are obscured by things. When one thing comes into contact with another, it is led astray. The faculty of the mind is to think. By thinking, it apprehends. By not thinking, it fails to apprehend. This is what heaven has given to us. If we first establish the greater part of ourselves, then the smaller part is unable to steal it away. It is simply this that makes the great person." Mencius says, "Dwelling in the wide house of the world, occupying his correct place in the world, walking in the great way of the world, when his desire for office is fulfilled, practicing his principles along with others, when the desire is disappointed, practicing them alone. Richness and honors cannot corrupt him, poverty and mean conditions cannot change him, authority and power cannot make him bend the knee. Such is a truly great man."
So when we try to understand 大学之道, okay, 大学, the learning for adult or learning for great man, we need to get some sense about what is a great man in the history. And then when we reflect on the modern education, and we should think about ourselves, the chances that we get educated, is it the possibility to become such a great man? So every day we're talking about the character building and the moral kind of development. It is the right path towards the great man. Now, let's move to the next issue. Okay, let's focus on these 3 items and 8 steps. So, in the book of the Great Learning, it says, the way of great learning lies in manifesting one's illustrious virtue, lies in loving people, lies in abiding in the highest goodness. So, what is 明明德? Manifest, express. 明德, your illustrious virtue, or your moral excellence. So you need to manifest, or in some way you need to discover or recover the innate nature in you. So this innate nature might be your innate morality. And the second, loving people, and later changed by the new Confucians, 朱熹, into renovating people. So, which means that people need to renew or renovate himself day by day and become a renovated person, cultivate one's morality. And the third is about abiding in the highest goodness. It's no easy job to understand this abiding and highest goodness. As for the abiding in, on most occasions, we lost our heart. We're nowhere to find our heart. And we don't know where we should abide in. So there's a sentence as talking about the relations, the role models or the role ethics.
As a ruler, he should abide in humaneness. As a minister, he should abide in reverence. As a son, he should abide in filial piety. As a father, he should abide in kindness. And in dealing with people, he should abide in trustworthiness.
And as for the highest goodness, and it sounds very profound, it's a supreme kind of notion about this word. And you can't imagine how good, what is the highest goodness. So in the doctrine of the mean, it says the centrality and the harmony. So if you can nurture yourself and develop your moralities into such a state that you can keep this centrality and the harmony, and then you will reach the highest goodness. So even now you may have the doubt, okay, that is something far beyond our reach. So is there anything that we can hold on to? Let me tell you, hold on to your own duty. Like we just now said, as a father, you need to be kind. As a son or daughter, you need to be filial piety. So that is your duty. The only thing for you is to attentively carry out duty as the role that's required by the society. And like another thing about this, to practice goodness, do not missing doing something good, even if it is insignificant. Do not do something bad, even if it is insignificant. So how about 8 steps? And it says, in ancient times, who wished to illustrate or manifest illustrious virtue of the land, he should first govern well the state. And to govern well the state, he should first regulate his family. To regulate his family, he should first to cultivate himself. And to cultivate himself, he should first correct his heart or rectify his heart. And then to rectify his heart, he should to keep this mind sincere. And then extend his knowledge to the utmost and start with investigation on things. So these are the 8 steps. And these maintain the balance and harmony of the individual on the one hand and also the society on the other hand. So we may stop for a while for this episode 1. Thank you for being with me.